Visit us at MontgomeryShowers.com or check out the Montgomery Showers Facebook page.
Welcome back. As we went to commercial, Dr. Withers was talking about dementia and how things can look in terms of dealing with that diagnosis with a spouse or a family member who might be assisting you. Then she threw to Nancy Cogar and we had to go to commercial. So let's bring Nancy back in, talking the legal side of things, Nancy, because it's not always that easy if you don't, to your point earlier, have the proper plan in place. Is that right?
Yeah, you know, sometimes the old times seem simpler, but we're not there anymore. So in an age of HIPAA, in an age of, increasing concerns about litigation, elder abuse, all those things, you need to have documents in place, including a HIPAA release, that help you as the individual making the documents, or help whoever it is you trust in your family help you. Or you don't want the person you don't trust in your family helping you either. So that is the best way to put a plan in place. I call my initial meetings with my clients strategy sessions, because we are talking about these same issues. I don't want to go to a nursing home. How can I protect everything I worked for all my life? I've got, I don't have anybody left. Who can be my proxy? Or my daughter lives in Colorado. Can she help? These are just real practical circumstances that have to be addressed.
This conversation, I told you up front, is very timely for me because we're going through this now with our mom who's in great health, but when you're 94, things begin to change pretty rapidly. So Ed had mentioned earlier that you have to realize at 50, you hopefully are going to become 70 and address that. That if people come and sit with you at 65, it's hard to realize what they might need at 85. So do they often have periodic conversations with you, Nancy? And
yeah,
do you try to kind of encourage them to think ahead?
Well, the old-fashioned estate planning was you got a big book, you had no idea what was inside of it. You put it on a shelf or chucked it in a drawer, and you never looked at it again until someone passed away. That doesn't work anymore. So I tell my clients, I want to know if there's something that comes up. I know what the journey looks like, and all of the people here joining me know what that journey looks like. And circumstances are going to come up. So if you leave something that you made 25 years ago when your kids were 6 and 7, it is definitely not going to work. When you're 60, 70, maybe your first spouse has passed away, maybe you've lost a child, maybe they're grandchildren now, and you've got different assets. So all these things are building blocks that I look at and then kind of try to structure something that they're comfortable with, given the risk level.
So you had said that most people, though, don't take those strategic steps. So let's talk to the majority of people then this morning, and life is hitting them. And let's make it kind of the example we've been talking about, and that it's a dementia situation, since that's what our topic has been. And their loved one is in the throes of it, so that they're not really capable, if you will, of understanding all that's going on. What do they do? Suppose they haven't done this planning. Do they first get a power of attorney? Do they need to have a conservatorship? What do they do?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Sounds like a real lawyer answer, doesn't it? Capacity is a requirement in order to make these documents. You're in effect giving away some of your constitutional rights. So you have to have the ability to know what you're doing and consent to it. So you should do it before you become incapacitated.
But if you haven't, what does that loved one do?
You've limited your options. Really, the most common option at that point is conservatorship, which means that you have to petition the court.
The loved one does, like the non-dementia.
Correct.
Okay.
To take that loved one's constitutional rights away to whatever limited degree they can, and put someone in place based on the court's order to do those things with the court's supervision. So you can imagine which is easier and which is more complex and cumbersome and expensive.
And emotionally draining.
And emotionally draining, yes.
So, okay, Beth, I want to ask you this then. At Morning Point, I imagine that not everybody who walks through your door needing your assistance has done this either. So do they ever have a difficult time placing their loved one with you for care if they haven't had this taken care of with consent? Or does that make sense what I'm asking?
No, they they can definitely do that.
Okay.
Most people have at that point acquired power of attorney for their loved one.
Okay.
And they most certainly can do that.
Talk about, I have a minute left for this part of it, but kind of get us started on this conversation, the resources that you do provide at Morning Point, because it is more than just being there to let people come to live with you. You're really a community resource.
We are. It is part of our philosophy at Morning Point, not just to serve the people and the families that have joined our communities, but also to guide people out in our community and tell them of resources and other things. So we feel very strongly about that. Our owners of our company feel very strongly about that. We do that throughout our footprint. We have 41 locations in the Southeast. Every one of our locations that has memory care has a caregiver support group once a month. That's part of our standard, because we believe in serving. And the people that come to our caregiver support groups don't necessarily have a loved one living with us.
And we will show you how to access that too before the hour is over. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, let's kind of table the dementia conversation for a minute. Let's focus on sleep and nutrition and the things you can do right this day to begin improving your life and aging well. We're back in a minute.
Sometimes I do struggle with fatigue.
My stomach hurts. I have brain fog.
I have trouble sleeping.
I have joint pain.
I deal with anxiety and depression.